Welcome back. For your next project, you're going to be finishing your second song using sampling and synthesis. We walked through the main points of how to develop and finish a song in part 1 of the class, so think of this as another opportunity for you to practice applying that knowledge. In this video, I'm just going to keep rolling on my process with my sample and synth song. I'm going to walk you through all the decisions that I'm making here with this specific example. I've tried to make the elements of this course as linear and digestible as possible, but every song is different. Things happen in different orders, different parts of the process overlap. So I'm hoping it'll color in a lot of the possibilities for you as you see me finish these 3 different songs that we're doing in this course. But when you're working on your own song, don't be afraid if things are happening in different orders. Do what feels right for your song. So I'm coming back to this after a couple days of break. Let's just give it a listen through. Okay, I have a number of ideas already. Let's just go through them. This is in no particular order. This is just things I thought of while listening right here. First of all, these bubble sounds are a little too persistent. They're just constant over top of everything, and I think what I'd like to do is have them just kind of snap in and out. Oh, and I don't want it there either. Oh, but I do want it back here. Okay. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a pattern of this kind of bubbly, staticky sound coming in and out. Another thing was I was thinking of differentiating the 2 sort of different sections we have here. This beginning part, it has the shaker, it doesn't have the chords. There's a few other minor differences. One thing I'm thinking is this kick pattern could be removed and we'll use that old other kind of rougher kick sound. And maybe we can get rid of some of the pot sounds. Yeah, I want to take away the really clangy ones. Take a couple of these sounds away. Yeah, maybe make this thing not so regular. And again, I'm feeling the same way about the shaker as I felt about the bubbles. I don't want to have it constantly going. Yeah, I'm gonna remove that too. Move this fill over here and then do a bigger fill. I'm feeling like this is our intro now, and this is kind of our main sort of verse section, I guess. Like this could be our fill. Okay, and then one other thing I was thinking while I was listening through was that I don't want these kind of snare clap sounds to feel so found sound. I think it's a cool sound. There's a nice sort of snap clap feel to it, but I want to get away from it being fully like, here's some pots and pans, and I'm gonna synthesize a snare drum. Let's pull in a helm and make a snare. So let's see, we'll turn the oscillators off to start with. Maybe we'll use them later, but just get some noise going. Turn the sustain completely down. Bit of snap to it there. Okay, let's do same thing from our 808 example, a little pitch drop on an oscillator. That's pretty cool. What's it sound like if we layer this on top of these drums? What's a good pitch for it? Yeah, I like what it's doing. When you compare it on and off, I think it really helps for our snare sound. Put that in the drum group, since we'll probably compress those all together. Actually, why don't we do that right now while we're here? Oh, and I don't want these kicks in for our verse section. Huh, silly me. That's the intro kick. I feel like this kick could be a little tighter. I'm gonna turn down that treble and also make it fade faster. Yeah, just a nice tight kick. So let's replace all these with the new version. Snares are a bit loud. Let's turn down all the snare sounds other than our synthesized one. And actually, the whole drum kit is a little loud. Yeah, this makeup gain was doing a little too much compensation, so I'm just dialing in the gain that I want manually on that compressor. I think we could do something more interesting with these chords. They definitely feel like they want some space. Let's get some reverb on. Let's also steal the side chain that we set up on that bubble sound, put it on the chords. Maybe the faintest bit of distortion too, just to bring out some high end. Yeah, I like how that's making it sound a little crackly and old compared to. Let's also put some bass down, again with Helm. I should have saved that 808 sound from yesterday, because that would be great right here, but let's make it again real quick. Let's get our bass line in. I'm just gonna stick with root notes, mimicking the chord progression exactly. Let's do a little fill at the end here. Maybe like a boom, boom, boom. No, I like the first way better. Or 3 different notes? Maybe this should line up with the kick. Yep, lining up with the kick is always nice. Okay, but now I'm hearing that that fill is like a little too much for the first time around. Let's double that, make the first one more basic. Let's just make it super simple. That's cool. Okay, so now let's duplicate this whole section and create variations because it does feel like this verse part wants to be longer. Maybe bubbles only come in halfway through. And a couple other elements. What else? Maybe all the sound effect stuff we just lose the first time through, or we do slightly different ones. No, we need them. All right, so in the second section, we got to build it up more with some other sounds. Like, what haven't we used here? I'm remembering some cool pitched percussion. Yeah, I really like the roundness of that tone. Let's make another track for that. Call it round tone. And you know what? Let's put this one in a sampler. I just want to be able to play its pitch more easily with MIDI. I'm hearing a kind of little background drum idea. First, let's adjust this sound in the sampler. Okay, cool. I got a little rhythm figured out. Something like this. Okay, I like this groove. Can we warm it up too with some distortion? It's a little too snappy, so I'm upping the attack on the volume envelope. And now, of course, that is way too loud. What does it sound like to have the shaker back in? Yeah, more in the background. Slightly quieter. I'm gonna pan it a bit, and let's get some reverb on it. Let's just double check that that now still works in our intro. Might take the reverb off for the intro. I like this, but I think more things need to be panned. Let's pan our snaps. That rise is quite loud. Let's put it on its own track. Dip it down a bit. It needs reverb. Let's set up a reverb send. I usually have a couple more multi-purpose reverbs going on a send where they kind of create the main atmospheric glue of the track. They're the thing that a few different instruments get sent to. Let's dial this in. It's got to be longer, less high end. And we won't send quite so much of this to it. Gonna bring some of our snare sounds down even more. And let's pan a couple of them too. Got this, and this, and this. Let's keep that in the center and send these a little bit in either direction. What if we also had some stereo on the chords? They are going to a stereo reverb, but a little bit of like ping pong delay could be fun. Very lightly, I'm thinking. Yes, I like this. I'm also going to modulate the delay time ever so slightly to give it some nice warble. What if we also modulate the pitch of the sampler itself? Just give it a little bit of that kind of analog drift feeling. Go to the modulation, turn on an LFO, and apply it slightly to pitch. Too much. And how fast do we want it? It's kind of fun fast, but I don't want it always to be fast. Maybe we'll modulate the speed of that LFO. LFO 1 rate. Yeah, I think that's cool. It just makes everything a little bit more alive. It's never quite repeating the same way twice. When this round tone sound came in, it felt a bit loud. But also, let's pan it to the right. We've got the shaker happening on the left. A lot of the other things I've been kind of doing a little bit left and right in a balanced way, like a snap a little bit here, a snap a little bit there. But we don't have anything that's really counteracting the shaker that's quite far left. Since that drum is more of a main element though, I'm gonna keep it slightly closer to center. For now, we'll see how this stereo space develops as we add more stuff. Maybe that riser comes back here. Placeholder riser, I might wanna switch that up. Let's listen to some of the other sounds we haven't used yet for some more inspiration. Okay, I like this swipe. Let's add it somewhere in here. Maybe like leading into a snare. Let's just make it its own track. That little hi-hat is kind of doing our lead into our snare thing, so I'm not gonna use that here. Do have a lot of lead-ins to the snares, so I'll use this as a variation then of this reverse. Yeah, that's nice. It's just more variation. That should be consistent, I guess, for the whole section. Let's keep looking at other sounds. Oh, do we have a blank track here? Yeah, whatever was on here, I don't have anymore. Let's clean that up. Delete. Let's do another sampled instrument with that glass, but one with more of an attack. Our chords have this nice swell. They're a pad. Let's create a lead here. Sampler. Do we want to filter this? Well, we definitely want some good space on it. Let's reverb and delay it up. Actually, instead of dialing in settings off of the default, why don't we look at some presets and maybe we'll get crazy. Glitch delay. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, let's mess with this. Okay, let's put a weird reverb on it. I like how big that is. What does it sound like in the other order? Doesn't make too much difference, so as a general rule, I'll keep the reverb after the delay. I'd rather reverb the delayed signal than delay the reverb signal. So, let's try and get a melody on top of here. Let's compress this so that the note feels more sustained. And actually, maybe we want a slightly less attacky sound. You could even go slightly later from the start of the sample. Okay, I'm hearing something fun, some kind of like descending, maybe a triplet-y line, something that feels like a bit of rain. Yeah, if it's like that, but then rather than these big cavernous reverbs, we get more delay on there and just kind of get it like sprinkling all around. Let's ping pong. A lot of feedback. Really narrow filter. Slowly modulate the filter and the time. A lot more feedback. Not quite so much feedback. It's got to be way in the background. Maybe we're a little too wet here. I like that. could also do random panning on the sampler. So each note is being randomly panned to a different spot. Let's sidechain that. Okay, let's keep listening to other sounds. I actually don't like those two. Delete. Maybe a nice snare clap for later. Oh yeah, all these hats. Let's play with those. I could hear just a simple keep in time with a couple little fills here and there. Do we want it right in with this verse section? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be part of the second half of the verse, the building up part. Now, which one of these sounds do we want to use? That is way too fast for me to digest what they sound like. This one or this one? Actually, that one. That's like a nice, you wouldn't even be able to tell that was recorded in my kitchen. That's a nice clean hat sound. Or you know what, we should alternate them. It'll be a bit more human feeling if they're not exactly the same each time. Let's make that one the first one. Let's try and get them pitched similarly. And that one's too loud. Maybe a little too long. Move these guys out of the way. Ooh. Strange clash there. It's just slightly off time with whatever weird sound we put in there. Maybe that one should move. Oh yeah, that comes in a little early. And this one too. I think it's got to go to a quiet section after this. So let's figure out what a quiet section for this song would be. Using a bunch of texture, yeah? I like these bubbles. I like that section. I'm gonna grab it, pull it over here. What if we dropped it real low, but high past it? So some of these rhythms become a bit more distinct, but we're not getting a bunch of garbage low-end mud. Move our hi-hats out of the way. Move all these sounds we're not using out of the way of our new section. Fade this in. Kind of like the beep of the kettle in there is this interesting background element. And I feel like we need some kind of rhythm to continue. Maybe the beat just gets like bandpassed. Yeah, let's group all of these drums. Copy this over. And let's just get an EQ that we turn on for this section. I'm gonna filter the shaker on its own because I want the drums to be a bit more muffled, but the shaker still audible, but a little bit muffled. Give it its own EQ that we'll turn on for this section. I'm realizing, look at all that low-end information that we do not need in this shaker sound. Let's EQ that out. I'm using a separate EQ because the other one is only turned on for that muffled section. Oh, and these hats should go in the drum group. Let's use some of the other hats in the new section. Oh, never mind. We are really losing them once they're EQ'd, so maybe they'll have their own EQ as well. I could see them being longer here. Let's pitch shift these down and see what they sound like. And take a bit of the high end away. These hats also need a bunch of low end cut. Huh. Cool, cool, cool. I'm just gonna program a rhythm by changing the pitch and the volume of these two different hat samples. I can't even remember what they were anymore. They're just hi-hats to me now. Got a groove to it. That sample actually ends at a perfect spot because it's the fourth bar of this section. It could be like a natural break. Shakers come out. No, no, no. Hi-hats come out. Okay, what else can we put in this section? These chords again. Low? Kind of like how spooky that is. Okay, here's an idea. Just clean that up a bit. This section could be even longer. Let's insert some space to work with. And this texture will just loop until that break thing that we wanted to do. Drums will also loop. Cut this sound because clearly we don't need all this low stuff. Just low cut it at that note. The hats kind of are nice as an element that comes in. Let's not have them at the beginning half of this section. I think the kick needs to come through a bit more. So I'm gonna make a duplicate of that kick and take it out of the group. Delete the kicks that are in the group for that section and the ones that are out of the group for the section before. And now let's give this kick its own different EQ. Now that's actually not getting compressed with our drums anymore. So I gotta do some other regrouping. These drums come out. Now we have two separate drum groups. We'll copy the EQ onto this group, and then we'll group that group and the kick duplicate, and we'll put the compressor after that. This order of operations stuff you gotta do with effects, man. Alright, let's figure out this fill. I am gonna have that shaker come out. I think I'm gonna have a lot of the drums come out. Kicks and snares. Or kicks and like the heavier snares. And then let's add some other textures in there. There was a cool one that I remember. Oh, somewhere here. Where was it? Yeah, let's throw that on the riser track. Or no, there's already a sound happening here. Guess we're making a new track. This sounds kind of cool on its own. We'll use that for something else. And this riser thing can end here. This is like a nice little light snare. Pitch shift it up a bit. Let's add that to our drum kit. Light snare. Where can this go? How will it sound with all the other stuff? Yeah, I like it. See what it does throughout the watery section. No, I don't like it there. It's a little too heavy for there. But let's put it in the break and we'll do a simpler kick pattern too. And also like a halftime thing out of this shaker. Or no, should it be the hat that's doing a halftime? Alternating sounds again. And what if we go into another kind of lower energy section with that new beat? So original kick doing the simpler pattern. These snares. No snaps? Yeah, okay. What if it's a chill version of the first section? We have this texture constant in this section. I'm just messing around. We can filter the chords a bit. Yeah, I'll activate that EQ band for this section. Let's bring back those little auxiliary drum details. Maybe this glass thing can cut out in this break as well. We need some kind of atmosphere there. Do the bubbles come back? Are there other textures we can be using? Oh, this sync sound? Let's reverse that. We'll just chop that off. Or do we want this to start earlier? We could pitch shift it down. Ooh, Okay, I have an idea. I think I'm going to turn warping on so we can do some pitch shifting while keeping that timing. And I want it to gradually drop towards the end. That's nice. I think some delay could be cool on that. And I have an idea about structure. I'm going to want to insert 32 bars here because I want to duplicate everything we just did. What I'm feeling is that we're gonna go through this, A, B, A, B, and when we come back to that original part for the last time, it's like the chill version of it. It's this one. Or maybe even chiller, like keep that filter on. Ooh, yeah. I think that's what we want. So this will be like our outro section and automation of that EQ. Maybe we could keep that hat rhythm going. Not sure how to end it yet, but let's see how this is feeling, transitioning from B back to A for the first time. I like that. I feel when you have a song with a vocal, you can get away with kind of repeating the exact same instrumental. On an instrumental tune, you gotta do a little more varying to keep things interesting. This could be cool, like really reverbed out, maybe slowed down. Oh, wow, that sounds really kind of nature-y. Oh yeah, let's make that part of that transition. Ooh, let's get some delay on it. Let's get some stereo delay. Yeah, that's great. Just sounds like a bunch of frogs and leaves. You know, one thing we're missing is both times that that section comes in, I want some kind of impact. Let's check out this sync sound, yeah. Gonna bring that over here. I think we just want a piece of this fading out and majorly verbed. Let's grab a preset. Large Factory, what do you like? Large Hall. Spacious. Warm Reverb Long. Concert Hall. That's okay. Really long. More highs. Not fully wet. There's a little bit of a clicky sound at the start, so that's better. And let's sidechain that. That can go the next time that section comes in. I think we need more stuff being sent to that reverb to give us some extra other flavors of wash. Yeah. And is this too high? a little more glued in there. Now, do we want to just have that turn off on the next snare hit? Kind of like the exact same trick I did in the last song? I do kind of like that. You know what? So I'm going to have it ring out the first time and then come to an abrupt halt the second time, because here I want everything actually to come to an abrupt halt. Including that cool nature sound. And we'll take out these kicks even. And we've got the reverb from the chord. Yeah. Oh, I like that little fake out silence. Oh, and we've got to mute the reverb send as well. What's still got a delay on it? The sync rise. And now I think what we do is start creating some interesting variations. I want to like cut parts out of the beat and replace them with other stuff. I want it to be a little more high energy than the first iteration. We'll do some bass fills. We'll just start making fills. Let's change the echo on that rim. Let's go into this delay. We are going to automate this pitch. And not have the filter on it. Just have a wider filter on it. This could be more pronounced of a fill. Let's do a little pitch drop on it. Pitch shift this. That's kind of dry. Let's give it its own little bit of reverb. Maybe a room preset. On that clap after the silence, I think we need a good impact. Do we have other clap sounds saved? This project is getting big. That could work. Extra little clap. Verb send. Send that whole thing to a verb. Ooh, I like that, but I want something higher as well. Let's add another verb. A nice high wash. Take the lows out of this one. And we will send that same stuff there. Yeah, good. Too strong, but right where I want it. Maybe we don't need that first one. Maybe we tone down that first one. Alright, we gotta keep on switching some stuff up in here. Like, let's cut this up. Have it stop on that kick. Pitch shift. And just really amplify what's happening here. Let's put a gain on this. And this sound's not doing it for me right here. Let's replace it with that tiny snare. Pitch shift that up. And volume down. Oh, this could be a fun way to get energy back. Some little ghost snares. Yeah, huh. So. Yeah, oh, that's a fun rhythm. Something else there. Maybe that fun kettle clap. Just a piece of it, pitched down and shortened. Volume down a bit on that too. And kick on the duplicate track where it's filtered. Ooh, okay, okay. Yeah, let's keep building this up. So, paste this like that. Is that where we want it? And then this starts coming in more often. And the kettle keeps having that thing happen. Although, I want to filter that. We're going to call this extra kettle. Move that down. Match the volume. And dial in some filter settings. Also, that needs to be EQ'd. Yeah, even give it a little boost there. Ah, I copied some snares wrong. Okay, pasting this kettle. Too many of these bonus snares. I'm gonna listen through and remove ones I don't like. Just went through and added some fills with some of those lighter drum sounds. What else could we switch up here? This fill feels like it needs to be more special. Maybe it goes up and then down. Kind of cool. Let's add some other sounds with that. Let's use both of those. Microwave here. It has a little bit of natural drop to it, so I'm gonna just accentuate that. Do a pitch envelope. Cool, yeah, just pitch shifting some textures around for fun. And I've got this one piece I haven't used yet. Let's leave this as another break too. Let's get rid of that kick. And instead of that hi-hat, we'll use another sound to sweep into that. Figure that out in a second. Gotta mess with this texture more. Yeah, fun transpose stuff again. Wow! A little bit loud. One sound that we can reverse to pull into that next snare. This could be fun because it's got some rhythm to it. Ah, no, we'll use that elsewhere. Still cool. This is a fun extra clap somewhere. Let's have all the claps stop and then use this kind of like fake out, really quiet, weird one. Where can we do that? Oh, I know. We'll do it in this spot. So instead of this idea with pulling into the clap sound, I'll just delete all this and we'll just be like, clap. Yeah, without the chord too. It's so pathetic. It just needs a little, it can't be that weak. Pitch it up so those are a little closer together rather than so floppy. Nah. Oh wait, yeah? Let's just warp it. Let's condense them. We'll squish all this time together. I want to leave that texture hanging out. Ooh! Whatever the next sample in line was, it's a nice little transition into this. Yes. That needs to be a little bit louder though. Automate this gain up a bit. And I guess at the same time we can be giving this clap some extra snap. Let's do one other thing with this lead-in sound. I'm gonna time stretch that as well and see what happens. Ah, nah. Yeah, just a little earlier. More intricate bass fill. Do 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 do. Da da da. Da. Need to shuffle those, but that's a fun fill. Should we just kind of fill out all the spaces here where in the first pass there wasn't bass? Double time? Nah. One long note? Halftime. Lining up with the kicks. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. What does this need now the second time? Ooh, some like ghostly high thing. this lead part still do some stuff? I should have just been recording that. Wait, hold on. I like that mistake that I made, but the first one has to be right. The next one can be weird. Gotta fix the timing a little bit. Oh, let's bring back the nature thing. I just want this part to be so like textural and otherworldly. Where was the track that I labeled nature? Oh man, how many tracks? 47 tracks now. I mean, that's not even that crazy, but it's just that all the tracks are these individual little things rather than instruments, you know? What if we just time that up and use it as a shaker this time? So I'll just like slow the pitch down until I see those roughly lining up to our beats. Gotta disable this automation. Yeah. Loop that. And now that we're building this up slightly more compared to the first time around, I think we need better snares and kicks. Let's bring that light snare in. And let's automate this EQ to not be quite as intense. So the frequency of the high cut will go up, the frequency of the low cut will go down. Actually, I don't want to move the low cut. I'll move the low cut on the kick. But we're also getting into mixing territory. Let's keep it creative. Let's finish this track. Gonna listen from a little further back for some context. two thoughts. Gonna layer up the chords with a synthesizer, and the bass needs to continue into that end section. Something like kind of driving actually could be cool. I really like the old fake triplet rhythm. Here's the bass line so far. Some fills, yeah. This groove, man. We need like a not quite as exciting impact for this part. Maybe it's the same one actually, but it's like quieter and pitch shifted. Oh, wait. I think I just made it better by pitch shifting it down randomly. All right, happy accidents. Well, that will be the main one, and then this will be the secondary one. Maybe we don't need one for the first section. Yeah, I think what we can do instead is have the intro be a bit filtered. Like, what happens if we turn on this EQ at the start on this stuff? And we'll have to group these guys and filter them as well. I don't want it quite as filtered, so let's automate this stuff. We could automate it to be kind of opening up as it goes. Again, is this mixing or is it production? It's making music. I'm coming back after a break with fresh ears, and in today's session I'm going to finish this track. So that's going to be the last bunch of production and mixing and mastering. First, let's listen through everything, and I'll make notes of ideas that I have, things that I want to change. Might mess with that riser. It's kind of all over the place right now. Maybe experiment with more texture in the intro. Okay, I want to layer these chords. I think this is a little bit out of tune. I'm gonna fix that right now. That feels a little better to me. The drums are a bit dry, particularly the snare, and I definitely think they're feeling a little too forward. The mix doesn't feel glued yet, which that might be something that happens in mastering, but it could be something to do with the volume balance that's currently happening. Might want to stereo enhance this texture thing. I feel like this section, I really want things kind of swimming around my head when I'm listening. It's very atmospheric, it's very textural. I feel like I just want it to have a lot of that kind of spatial dimension. And along those lines, I think some more space would be cool. Some more kind of like reverb hits, like subtle ones, but a little bit of an accent here and there to just add to the space. We did just do a little fake out stop here. So I don't know if I want another one that's similar here. Not as much of a fake out. There was also a noise I heard somewhere earlier that I thought could be slightly better. Yeah, that just feels a little bit dry, this fill. Enhance fill. I don't know if it's to do with how the sound just feels dry, or maybe just the mix isn't quite right. It's not quite alive yet. That's what I'm feeling. Let's keep listening. I like the beat so much here. And I might want to play with bringing some of those elements back to the first time that section occurs. I might find different synth sounds so that the lead isn't always this thing we got from The Glass. More of a swell into that section, I think. Need more lead elements at the end of that section. So when things start to drop out just for the last couple bars of that section and I create this fill, I think there needs to be more contrast there. It needs to really feel like a different thing. It's pulled back more, it's a fill, and then we're into our ending section. I remember thinking that maybe I didn't want to go to that kind of chill section at the end, but now that I'm hearing the whole thing flow, I think it is the right move. It's the third time we're using that chord progression section, and it feels like a nice way to end the track with something familiar, but a really chill pulled back version of it. Let's hear how it fully ends. Okay, it just kind of, I stopped producing. That's how it ends. I'm going to insert some more time here, and I think I'm going to experiment right now. I just want to double that section because I think I want it to last a bit longer, and I want the drums to kind of filter away over the course of that time and leave the texture kind of hanging, and we'll find some way to maybe fade that out, reverb that out, but I'm feeling like we want to end with that bubbly texture. Feeling great about where this track is, though. Sometimes you come back and you're like, oh, what did I do? Here, I'm like really feeling this track. I'm really happy. Let's go through these notes. Grab our bubble texture for the beginning. It's not the right texture. What if we slow it down? And remember, this is all going through that extremely high pass EQ. Maybe we want to automate that down a bit and get some of the lower stuff in for this intro. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And maybe the volume needs to come down. Maybe the side chain needs to be more pronounced. Not sure. I want to glue it in more to this intro section. You know what? I think we need to do a whole different EQ. I'm going to EQ this to not come on until our the other place where we already had it. I'm going to add a new EQ and automate it to only be on during the intro. Let's find a tone for this texture. Bit of reverb here too. Yeah, I'm liking what that's doing now. So it's just giving a bit more texture to the intro, making it less dry feeling. You know, here's what it was like before. And I've cut holes in it so that there's still those pauses in the drums. But we have some of that reverb tail hanging out in the space. I think having those textures there just sets the track up better because it is a really textural track. I'm already starting to build that world. I've got this one band automating going up during the riser. And I think I might shift this over just so that that little drop sound at the end lines up on a beat. Yeah, where is it? Let's accentuate that. We'll have this EQ band also automate up to bring out that little droplet sound that I like. Okay, that's cool. Now I wanted to make this riser better. What's happening with this one? I think it could use a compressor. There's a lot of volume kind of jumping around in it, and I just want it to be a smoother movement. And it could probably grow in volume over time as well. Let's make sure that compressor's not affecting anything else in this track. Oh, we use that riser all the time. Well, hopefully it's an improvement elsewhere as well. I'm actually okay with how it was before in those later spots. I think it's just during the intro when there's so much less going around that this really needed to be tamed a bit. So I'm just gonna automate that compressor to only be on during the intro. Maybe we can mess with the texture too. I like that better. Wonder if there needs to be a slight bit better of an impact for that first introduction of the verse. Maybe it's just adding these bubble textures here. Yeah, without the sidechain compressor. Yeah, something like that. I might finesse that a little bit, but it just felt like it needed something in the high end. Everything here felt a little more round, a little more low-endy. Okay, cool, let's move on. Adding a new MIDI track, putting Helm on it, and we're gonna layer up those chords. Want a filter envelope. Gonna slightly detune my two oscillators for a bit of chorusy effect. Oh, and I need to reset one of these notes so that it behaves the same way as all the others at the same time that are being opened by that envelope. And for this synth sound, let's just quantize everything. Fix the other notes that need to be reset. Let's see how this goes with the glass chords in the mix. Something feels out of tune. Maybe these are too far detuned. Maybe the pitch drift on the glass sound is not helping us out, but I also didn't tune that properly, so it might be just off. Does this only come in the second time? All right, well, I'm gonna reduce the amount of pitch drift on the glass sound just to help us out a little bit with tuning our different chords together. Also making sure this lead glass sound is in tune. Octave up. Or is it that we want more pitch wobbliness on the new chords? Could have them kind of scoop in. Let's also apply the filter envelope to the depth of LFO1 and assign LFO1 to our fine tune. Yeah, not quite so much depth, but a lot more speed. Missed a note here. Maybe we could start with an octave down and then have the second section have both octaves. Maybe I want the delay on for the glass chords at the beginning, but then take them off during this larger section where it kind of felt like they were getting in the way. And I'm still not sure about this chord choice. If I want the 2 octaves, if I want just the 1, if it should be the higher or the lower. Or did the chords not come in there? Yeah, I'm liking where that's at now, where the chord enters both octaves, but only the second half of the verse. Had an idea I want to try where maybe we could have a pitch bend right at the end of it to kind of help with our transition into the next section. It's kind of fun. I'm going to increase the pitch bend range. And I'm just going to ease that envelope a little bit. Maybe we could automate the resonance up too. And some kind of filter movement. I don't know if it's up or down. Can't have that snap back so quickly. It's creating a click. Or is it just that it's too bassy with all that resonance? There we go. Let's create a variation on this tone as kind of a fill. Da, da, da. Kind of grow to our reverb send here. Maybe to our delay send as well. Not the right flavor of delay. Let's add another one. I'm putting 2 delays in a row because I want a certain kind of rhythm, but I also want it to be emphasized in a certain kind of way. So we're ping-ponging back and forth every 3 16th notes, while there are also delays happening on every 16th note. Let's go back to our notes. We dealt with the layered chord synth. We're gonna deal with this dry snare right now. First of all, that snare, actually all the drums are just kind of loud. Yeah, I think we got to turn down everything but the kicks in this drum group. And then one of the snares I'm feeling is particularly dry. Is it this one? Could be our Helm snare. Let's add another reverb send. Bring those two snare sounds to it. I think that's doing what I wanted it to. So here's without the reverb. And with. Might even turn it down slightly. Let's keep going on our notes. I wanted to stereo enhance this section. I think that texture feels too loud. Turn it down. But it's also one of the things that I wanted to stereo enhance. So let's put a stereo delay on it. Yeah, much nicer. Now at the end here, do we need to automate that delay to turn off? I think so. So I'm gonna deal with this reverb hits note now, and I'm going to set up a couple more delay and reverb sends. So maybe a delay with some modulation over the time. Actually, I don't think delay is what we want. I think I'm just gonna go with reverb. Let's have that pattern of reverb send continue in the drums. Again, I think I just need to add another track that I'll call reverb hits, and we'll use some of our currently unused sounds on that track going to a bunch of reverb. That could be one. Oh yeah, these taps. A lot of those kinds of textures would be great for this. Collecting all of this stuff. Okay, reverb on this track. I want a really long reverb. Let's start dropping them in. So I started by adding a bunch of these as just accents on the snares, and there's one that I really like that I'm gonna put on its own track. We'll copy the reverb over. I think this would be a nice one to have on every snare, or maybe every other snare. Gonna duplicate the reverb hits track again because I think some stuff's gonna start overlapping. Need another delay send. And this one, I'm gonna use a utility to slightly reduce the width of the ping pong. Maybe we don't want such a perfectly timed delay. Let's keep our echoing snares going. Start introducing some of these reverb hits that aren't just on the snare, but at other little accent points as well. So So I found places for most of these sounds. There were 3 that I just decided didn't really work. I deleted them. And one thing that I also did is automate the feedback and the volume of this reverb send so that we get a nice addition to the transition here. It kind of adds to the power of the riser. So I think we got to take the delay time modulation off there. I want that to be predictable and not cut off in a weird spot. And I want a little bit more of a high-end accent there. So I think I'm gonna layer another sound on the track above it and send just that to the reverb. What sound's it gonna be? Not quite right. I want more of a metallic kind of sound. Maybe we need to grab something from elsewhere. Like it could be one of the pot sounds I used as a snare or a clap. Yeah. Bring that up. Turn it down for this part. And I think that delay volume automation actually goes a bit too high. Automate some distortion to come in. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think the pot sound is a bit too harsh. I'm going to fade it in just to soften the attack. It takes such a lot of refinement to get all the things just balanced right, where it's not like overtaking stuff, but it still adds a lot to the build-up. I think I'm happy with it now, though. Oh yeah, and we wanted to enhance this fill. Let's send it to a bit of reverb. That's not quite right either. I think I gotta give it its own reverb. It's so subtle, but I do like it more. And is there more we want to do to enhance that fill? Maybe a bit more percussion. Let's bring back some of these hits. There's one I liked here. Yeah, this one. And that one. Let's bring those back a couple times in this verse for more variation. Cool. And what are we gonna put in this break? I'm okay with the pause from the clap to the verse coming back in. But this is too dead after our first fake out. So let's find a little texture-y thing we can throw in there. I think it's the fire. Yeah, and then just a little EQ sweep to give it some movement. Maybe a notch sweep. Yeah, that's fun. Some distortion automation. And the tiniest little accent when the beat comes back in. What can we grab from our reverb hits we used already? Pitch shift it, maybe? Build out that fill a little bit more. How about bringing this snare accent back? More of these light snares, I think, is what we want. I'll just put a bunch there on the offbeats and then see which ones I want to take away. I like that rhythm, but I want to change some of them up. Yeah. Let's take these up to our reverb track. Also this one. And I'll replace them on that track with sounds we've used before. This one can go here. This one can go here. And this one pitch shifted up. And not quite as attacky. What if these switch places? I'll turn them up a bit. Okay, now did I want to do this, bringing some of the elements from the beat here into the first verse? You know, when I was going back and working on the chord stuff, I didn't feel like the beat was missing a lot. Now maybe the shaker is a bit too loud and too bright. Yeah, I'm fine to leave those drums as they are because we're in an earlier phase of the song. I think we're still building up. I think having the new drum accents come in on verse 2 is going to help maintain interest when we get there. Let's keep going. I said I should vary the lead sound here. So listening to this again, I actually changed my mind. I think I'm happy with that lead sound where it is. I like those bell tones. I think we just need to get in towards the end and create more variation somehow in this section. I wanted a swell here. What about that flame thing? Could we use that again? The fire. Yeah, I'll just automate the volume a little bit. And maybe it can be lower pitch. And maybe it can go to a reverb. Yeah, definitely lacking lead elements. Let's make another instrument out of some of our kitchen sounds. Get a sampler. I do remember there was a tone I liked in our reverb hits track. One of these. Let's grab that. We'll double this. Make sure they're the same pitch. Put the same effects on. Cool, that's coming through more. You know, speaking of additional elements, I forgot to add the synth chords into verse 2. That would be a good thing to keep consistent. Should they be there for the whole verse? Gotta cut it out during that break. And now with the bass continuing underneath, do we want the chords to kind of loop like this? No, they'll keep matching the glass chords. Yeah, I guess this lead line just kind of dropped off partway through, and we got to find some more stuff to add. Probably some higher stuff, because it's been going down and down for a while. Okay, I just played in some stuff super rough. I like the arc of it, but I think we gotta change the timing. This could be on the other instrument, or maybe both. It's 2 on beat. Let's shift them. We'll have this one go over a little, this one go over a little more. Okay, I think that's cool, but we need to do this contrast thing. More lead elements is done, more contrast is now. So first of all, that bass is just plowing right on. It needs to have like a change in timbre or something. Let's bandpass it. Maybe we gotta do this with an EQ. Have a high and a low cut, each independently automated. Turn that on just during that fill. The low cut's gonna... Yeah, I'll record this automation by hand. Simplify that envelope and tweak it. Yeah. And let's put that through a distortion just for that fill, for some added change in timbre. Along with automating the volume down, of course, for that. That's pretty cool. That's a nice contrast. Let's listen from a little earlier for context. There's something I'm not liking about these texture fill things. Oh, it's the sync. There's too much high end there. I'm gonna filter it up. Right, and at the end, we wanted everything to fade out other than that bubbly sound. I'm gonna filter out this percussion. Copy that to our drums. I think while that's fading out, the bubble should be fading in. And we've got to fade out the snare reverb. The kicks also hang around for a little too long, so let's fade those out because they're not getting filtered until the very end because, of course, they're lower frequencies and we're doing a low-pass filter. I feel like maybe the drums are just slightly too sparse. What can we add from earlier that would fill that out? Feeling the light snare. Okay, I'm liking the fade out. I just want the bubble sound to also grow to a reverb so that it can kind of stop naturally and nicely. Is that the reverb we want, or is this the reverb we want? As it turns out, I added a lot more production than I was intending to coming into this session. I think the song is better for it, but it does mean I feel like I should take a break before I go to the mixing and mastering stage. So that's going to be for my next session, which is in the future for me, but for you, right now. Okay, let's get this mix done. I've thrown some headphones on because I've made this entire track only using monitors and I want to get a different perspective, but I'm probably also going to check with the monitors later. Let's give this song a listen. Okay, in that section, I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing that stood out was some of the percussion was maybe a little too sharp, a little too trebly. Let's find those pieces. Yeah, this stuff. I'm just gonna go through and do a bit of EQ on every one of the sounds that I can track down where it feels like it's a little too trebly. Yeah, that one too. That one's maybe just too loud. Yeah, I gotta turn a couple of these things down. And that happens again here. Okay, got all those. I am feeling like we could pan some of these. Hi-hat needs some EQ. Pan the hi-hat as well, the opposite way from the shaker. Turn it down a touch. I think that transition is really close, but I just need to fine tune how those sounds grow. Do we still have a bit of that snare ringing out? Yeah, gonna mute that on our little fake out here. And maybe there's too much reverb on these snares. Send it a little bit less. Or maybe it's just for that hit it gets sent less, because I liked what it was doing before. So less of a send just for those parts. Now that's too little. I do still want to feel some reverb. There it is. Okay, that's a really fun sound in the background. It would be cool if it panned. Yeah, that was a delay on the rim shot. I think it's this channel. Let's have that go from left to right. Want some stereo happening on that cool sound effect. One trick for this is to have a delay full wet and then set the time ever so slightly different, like 1 millisecond of difference between the left and the right channels. Feedback is 0, of course, you don't want feedback, and we could turn the filter off too. So all this is doing is delaying one side by 1 millisecond, the other side by 2 milliseconds. Should create some good stereo. Maybe we can adjust the settings after we hear it. Okay, a little bit more difference makes more sense. Yeah, I like it around 10. Or maybe it could grow if we put this delay before the utility and automate the stereo width to go up across that sound. Yeah, not quite as dramatic. That's nice. Okay, this lead is feeling a little bit loud on that first bunch of notes, this cluster here. And And also, this first note is too far away from the rest of them. Yeah, I think we automate the volume down on this channel. Don't like that note there. We could send this to like a reverb and delay. I don't think we need that note either. And we need some kind of accent as well to differentiate that break part a bit more from the section that it's coming from. Let's listen through these reverb hits. I think it could be this one and that one mixed together. And more reverb for here. A longer tail as well. This hat starts a little too high. I want it already kind of filtering out for this section. Oh, we could end with just one of those beeps. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this mix. Now let's find out what happens when we take away our really light mix glue mastering chain, play this, and then start applying our mastering for real. One thing I am gonna do before mastering is bounce this lead track because I had set the notes to randomize their panning. Now that's not gonna be the same every time, and if I'm making kind of the master copy of this song, I do want it to be identical, just in case I'm going back anytime in the future, maybe I wanna get stems out of it or need to do a remix. That's gonna have to happen on the lead track. It's also gonna have to happen on the glass chords track because of these LFO modulations that I was sending to the pitch. One of them's changing the pitch ever so slightly, and then the other one is changing the rate at which the first LFO is changing the pitch. So we want to print that as well so that it is identical every time that we play this song. It's basically like locking down one take of those modulations. One thing I do when I'm bouncing stuff like this, just so that I have the latitude in mixing and mastering, is I take all of the effects that aren't being modulated onto a new track, and I just print what is necessary, and then I will pull those effects back onto the track after it is in audio. And Ableton has this freeze and flatten feature, but remember, in another DAW, you can just solo the track that you want to bounce and export it, and then bring that exported file into your project, while of course muting the original. And now we will bring our effect back onto those tracks. We'll delete these extra tracks that I made to just kind of store those effects temporarily. Now I have to continue on with a couple little technical tasks. I'm gonna do some cleanup. I'm going to get rid of all the stuff we weren't using in the final. I'm gonna save a copy of this project at this point, just in case we need to go back and get some of that stuff. I'm also going to delete this track that is blank. We're not using it. Let me look for others. I think that this one called Texture Hit, we also didn't end up having anything on there in the final. And then tones, we took the tones to samplers to use. So that's able to be cleaned up as well. Now we're gonna do our low cut EQ pass. I was pretty happy, other than that little bit of treble EQing I was doing on some of those sounds, Most of the stuff I didn't feel needed a lot of EQ. I had done a good enough job sculpting stuff as I was producing this track. So now we're just gonna go through, add our low cut to everything but the bass and drums, removing all of the unnecessary low end to give our mix as much headroom as possible. I'm switching from headphones back to monitors now for the final check, and now we're going to look for the biggest part of the song, the loudest part of the song, and make sure we're not clipping our master channel before we apply our master effects. Had to pull it a tiny bit down. Now I think it's sitting in a good place, and it's time to put our master chain on. I think I've got the settings I like. Let's take care of the final fade out. Okay, cool. I'm going to export this now and give you one final playthrough of the finished piece and then send you on your way to finish working on your second song.